Lighter, the undefeatable fighter, the champion from Son of Caledon. His fist of fairy was shaken the Mother Earth, the strongest punches in Zenless Zone Zero. But also he has the weakest ass in the game, probably weaker than your grandma. Subscribe! So I think a lot of you out there has already seen the videos about DPS Lighter, and most of you might be thinking, oh, this must be one of those meme builds. This is not optimal. But the reality is, the best DPS Lighter team is not far behind the Yanagi meta team, and is unironically stronger than Soldier11 Lighter team and the Ellen Joe Lighter team. And they are not even the most synergistic teammate for Lighter is the Beneath. And I'm talking about both DPS Lighter and the Stunner Lighter. Because, you know, Beneath own Lighter's ass like owning a puppies or owning a kitties. So in the JP side of things from this channel, the Hako Channel, he has been doing a lot of tests on Lighter. The test is done with the Dead End, the weekly boss, and the first half of the current critical node. As I'm recording right now is at 30th November. So as you can see, the DPS Lighter is outperforming Hyper Carry Ellen and the Hyper Carry Soldier11 on the Dead End, because the Dead End has the ice weakness. We have to account for that. And by the way, Rina is in Mindscape 1. If her test is being done with the Mindscape 0, it would be the time in the commas. And I think the reason behind it is because Lighter simply stacked too much elemental damage onto Ellen, especially with the signature weapon. That makes the penetration from Rina becomes more valuable, because if you stack one stat for too much, it's gonna have some levels of diminishing return. So I would highly recommend you to pick for Rina when you reach your 300 ticket. And I'm talking about Mindscape 1 Rina. And for the same reason, you should use pin ratio on this number 5 on both Ellen Joe and Soldier11 when you are pairing with Lighter. And it's already tested by this content creator Hako. I think his content is awesome. You can go check his channel in the description. So the DPS Lighter is technically stronger than the Soldier11 and even Ellen team. But there's this one condition that I would like you to pay attention with, is that DPS Lighter could only work optimally with Beneath. And this largely has to do with the Fire Force set, where you get a tons of critical rate from proxying the force set effects, and also the buff that Beneath would get from Lighter is also tremendous. And Lighter without Beneath is actually on par with Soldier11. She would perform better than Lighter if she could finish off enemy within one stun. But generally, Lighter is unironically a better DPS than Soldier11, because stunning the enemy in itself also increases the damage. But in terms of raw damage, Soldier11 is still outperform Lighter. But I don't really think that the reason that Lighter is so strong is because of his characteristic, but I think it's because they overtune him for too far. He could do too many things as a stunner. He could deal damage, he could give enemy a quick stun, and buff the fire and ice damage tremendously. And this is what makes me raise my eyebrows with the patch 1.3. Is that if you watch my last videos and take a look at this graph, with the introduction of Yanagi, her existence has already made so many teams power creep the 1.2 meta. The Jane Doe Beneath Caesar team. It almost like if I put any working team onto the Yanagi, it would outperform the last meta. And the same thing also happens to the Lighter. He just generate another 12th team that is better than the 1.2 meta. The power creep is absolutely concerning. We'll just keep moving on to the guide. And the other question that being raised a lot is that, should I pull Lighter for the Ellen Joe? And the answer is quite simple. You wouldn't necessarily need Lighter if you have Caesar. This is the test result from the other channel. And as you can see, Lighter isn't better than Caesar in Sokaku team. And of course, Sokaku is Mindscape 6. And Lighter is stronger than Caesar in the Lycan team. But it's actually not a bad idea to pull for Lighter. if you don't have Caesar. But in terms for the pool value, I would wait for the Caesar rerun instead of pulling Lighter, but this is just my preference. And you wouldn't see a lot of improvement if you have both Lighter and Caesar on the same team. And Lighter is one of the strongest characters in his own niches, but as comparison to Caesar, she's simply much more versatile than Lighter in terms of teams building. But nonetheless, pulling for Lighter is definitely not a bad idea, because the other major reason you might want to pull for Lighter is that the best team in this meta right now is actually Lighter with Yanagi and Bernice. The Disorder team, like surprise surprise, the best team with Lighter is not either Ellen Joe and the Soldier11. It's coming from the same content creators that I just showed you in its first test result. He claimed that he could finish the Critical Note 7 first half with Yanagi Lighter Bernice team within 40 seconds. We'll just assume that it's 38 or 39 because he doesn't actually show the numbers. But nonetheless, he claimed that pretty much any anomaly characters pairing with the Lighter Bernice team is going to finish the Critical Note first half within 1 minute. To give you an idea, they are all stronger than 1.2 meta. And I really would like to pull for Lighter and test it out myself just to prove it, but I gotta save it for the Miyabi. And you know what? I'm gonna pull for Lighter right now. Come on, come on, come on, come on! Who the fuck are you? But you know what, as I'm editing this video, they just came out with this event that I could test the Lighter here. And the test result is actually consistent with what he claimed. As you can see with the result here, the Yanagi Disorder team is phenomenal. Finished with 45 seconds, while Soldier11 takes 50 seconds to finish. And on top of that, the enemy is fire weakness. Not only Soldier11 could deal 20% more damage, the fire anomaly also built up much faster, and both Yanagi and Jando Disorder team still outperformed Soldier11. And I have discussed about this on one of my previous videos about how flawless the Lighter's rotation works with the anomaly unit, because you literally don't have to do any kind of setup for his breaks to work with the Disorder. So much so that I think they have to design the Lighter to match with the Disorder team in the first place. So in conclusion, there's absolutely no wiggle rooms to claim that the Lighter Bernice Yanagi team is the best team in 1.3. It is even stronger than the Yanagi Caesar Bernice team, which I also consider as tier 0, and follow with DPS Lighter team, which consists Bernice and Caesar, or Bernice with Lucy. It's absolutely one of the best team in the game, but Lighter without Bernice, his performance would be on par with the Soldier11, maybe slightly better overall. And the rest you can take a look by yourself. Basically, Lighter Jando Bernice team is also great, and the Soldier11 Ellen Joe Hyper Carry are also tier 0.5. Hyper is also in here with Bernice. And as for tier 0.75, the reason I don't list it tier 1 is because I think it's pretty close with the tier 0.5. And basically, the tier 0.75 has roughly the same power levels as the 1.2 best team, the Jando, Caesar, and Bernice team. And the way you want to build the DPS Lighter is with the 4-set Inferno set and the 2-set Woodpecker. And if you don't have the Bernice, it would be 4-set Woodpecker with 2-set Fire Hormone Punks, or the Penetration 2-set is also okay. The number for this, you want to go for crit rate, crit damage. And this number 5, penetration, attacks, or the elemental damage are all solid. And at the disc number 6, you should stick to the impact to the disc number 6. And as for the support Lighter, you would want to go for the Protopunks 4 set for the team buff with Shock Star 2 set. And the disc number 4, 5, 6 are pretty much the same. But you could also put Anomaly Proficiency on disc number 4. It's also a pretty good option. So I'll be here reacting to this Hako Channel's demonstration on the DPS Lighter, and let the Lighter in my account do the facial expression. So basically, he got in with Caesar buff and debuff, and quickly triggered the burn with Bernice to get all the buff from the Fire Force set. Even if you build Lighter as a DPS, you still want to use him as a stunner, because majority of his damage is going to be coming from the damage after he stunned the enemy. And one of the really important tips about the lighter is that you want to get as close as possible to the enemy before you use the skill, so you don't miss all the damage and the daze. So he keeps hitting the boss even is down to charge up the energy for the next round. And again, he repeats the rotation with buff and debuff with Caesar, then quickly apply burn and keep dazing the enemy with the lighter. And he used ultimate for the daze and not really for the damage. And finish off the enemy with the normal attacks and the skill. And boom. And this is the gear I use with the Yanagi. I made videos about the Thunder Metal set is better than the Chaos Jazz set. But in this particular stage, the mob is fire weakness. It means that I'm gonna have significantly more fire and normally than the Electro and normally. There's no chance to utilize the Thunder Metal set, so I goes with Chaos Jazz set. Here's my gameplay with the Disorder team with Yanagi. So basically I got in with the Bernice and deal a little bit of fire and normally. And procs the burn with Yanagi so I could time the Disorder more quickly because the enemy would die in the first Disorder. So I try to daze the boss as soon as possible with Lighter, which I intentionally save or his morale from the last mob and use everything on it. And I swap to Yanagi to use whole skill to pre-buff the Disorder damage. And I chain attack based on whether enemy is burning or shocking to proc the Disorder. And I finish off the enemies with the Bernice out to squeeze that 0.2 seconds. And just for the record, I will just put Soldier11's gameplay here, and there's not a lot to show here to be honest. So basically I proc the burn as soon as possible. And I also kill the first mob without stunning and save all the resources for the boss with Lighter. Actually I've been maining Soldier11 from day one, but she's getting more irrelevant these days. So I wouldn't recommend anyone to pull for her. And I quickly build the burn and normally onto the boss as soon as possible with both Lighter and Bernice. And basic attacks with Soldier11 until it died. Well, with that said, everything on the graph should be more than enough to get you an S rank in the critical node. So there's absolutely no pressure to get the best team possible for your account. If I were to be totally honest, I'm just here to present the information. I'm not trying to tell you how to play the game. I hope this video is informative for you. And my name is Realsuke. Please sub and like if you make it to here. And that's about it. See ya guys.